The Chevys have done really well so far, with DeMax topping pole, his teammate starting back in 7th position. Dejon Weeks enters this race 3rd in the point standings, one of the favorites to try and win the title for this season, but he's got 40 points to make up on Jake Bassinger, who will start dead last of all the cars that qualified in 38th position, provisional land just behind him. Richard Johnson enters this race 2nd in the point standings. Johnson starts 13th. So there's a good chance and good possibility we could see a new points leader if Jake Bassinger is not able to make passes and get up the running order. This is another race in a row where Jake Bassinger, just like Kansas, did not qualify well, and this is going to be an even taller task for him today to try and make up ground in this race this afternoon. For 50 laps of racing, trouble is always lurking. You're so close to the barrier here at Trois Rivieres. This is the Monaco of stock car racing here at Trois Rivieres, and our first race in Canada. And for back-to-back weeks, let's see how this race pans out as we get set and ready to go for 50 laps this afternoon. Dejon Weeks is always really good on the road courses. This could be a big day for him to make up ground. 40 points back. And then behind the top 3, it is DJ Curtis, Dylan Schwellenberg, Cody Lamas. Top 5 in the point standings, all within a race of the points lead. Still all up for grabs in this race this afternoon. Eric DeMax in car 0. That car won the pole with Stephen Pollard III last season. And they're on pole back-to-back again. Behind them is last week's winner James Shelley and Charlie Smith, always good on the road courses. Gonna bring the field of 42 to green. We're racing for our first road course of the season. Eric DeMax gets clear of Dejon Weeks. James Shelley trying to follow DeMax. But Dejon Weeks drawing even with James Shelley. Down into turn 3. Oh, the tire barrier always jets out. Everyone slamming into the barrier. Very loose and slick into the wall. Turn 3, very slick on this racetrack. And I think Shelley, along with Schwellenberg for sure, a lot of damage on the right side. He enters this race in the top 5 of the point standings. Ben Yako and DJ Curtis make contact, but they get away with it. Vince Freeze in car 25, challenging Matthew Rodriguez. There's Richard Johnson, 2nd in the point standings in this race. Johnson's had a lot of good solid runs in this 2022 season so far. The Savannah winner, Jeff James, a hometown hero, to the inside of Ryan Griffin. Jobs are Strictly in car 86. This team won in car 86. Dylan Schwellenberg's on pit road. The damage is too severe on car 10. Schwellenberg, who enters this race 5th in the point standings, 50 points back to Jake Bassinger, who also was very adamant that this could be a race where he makes up a lot of points in the championship. He's on pit road early. Logan Cloud and Zachary Fitzwater are also on pit road. Looks like they've had some issues as well. Here's what happened with them. Cloud and Fitzwater were one of the few that took up the last provisional spots, and Fitzwater just got into Cloud. Same thing happened with Mace up ahead, but they took a lot of damage, and they entered the pit road with Schwellenberg to repair damage. Completing lap 2 of the event, it is Eric DeMax that's out front over Dejon Weeks, Charlie Smith, Jesse Turner. Then you see James Shelley, last week's winner at last week's winner at New Hampshire. Sorry about that. Peter Onjak had an amazing run in qualified inside the top 10, and has been able to hold that position in the opening laps. Going to be interesting to see how this 66 team adapts over the race. Long ways to go. Team Velocity, they're looking forward to that Mitsubishi deal for next season. And they believe Team Velocity and Martin Motorsports, with that new manufacturer deal, that they could be a front-running team. And Peter Onjak, one of their young guns at that organization. Right now, no word has been talked about who will be driving at Team Velocity in their 2-car team, but Peter Onjak likely will stay with that organization. Anthony Marchese, we talked about it last week in New Hampshire. He'll be going over to Red Bull Racing, and good to see Marchese running well this afternoon. Qualified very well. He's in the top 10. Alex Benyako, DJ Curtis, and Cole Baker. Not a whole lot has been said about Cole Baker's future, but it's very good to see he's outside the top 30 in owner points, having to qualify his way in every week. So this would do big points for that team. to finish in the top 10. Samuel England leading the Red Bull charge with Charles Sanford back in 12th. Richard Johnson right where he qualified. Rodriguez, White, Freeze, Shrigley, James, Harple, and Griffin. Griffin's pancaked the wall somewhere. That's the top 20. And for Jake Bassinger, after 3 laps of completion, Bassinger has worked his way up from 38th all the way up to 30th, and he's on the charge. And a shame, the hometown hero, Kyle Collins, the 2019 winner of this race, he has hit the barrier. It's a shame for this race team. They're in the fight for the top of the owner points for the part-time organizations. Shea Bignacco Racing, Kyle Collins, they were running in 21st position, and Collins spun out all on his own into the tire barrier in turn 3, the most tricky corner of the whole circuit. And Collins, he's the 2020 winner of this race, did not win this race in 2019. That was Sean Harple. But that's tough luck for that organization. They had big hopes that Collins could get a top 20, if not a top 10, with his skills around this racetrack, but it's going to be out of the race for car 93. Looks as though James Shelley has gotten in the tire barrier as well. Turn 3, continuing to catch people out like it's the Darlington Strike. And you got to be very careful getting through that corner. If you overdrive it just a little bit, you're going downhill into turn 3. That corner is so hard and narrow, so it's very easy to get caught out. DJ Carnes going by Anthony Marchese for position. So far, passing continuing to be very tricky on this course. Top 5 breaking away. It is Shelley 5th. 4th is Jesse Turner. Charlie Smith, seems like one week he's down in the mid-20s, or sometimes he's up there in the top 5 like he is this afternoon. We know he's very good on the road courses. Very good to see out of Charlie Smith. Dejon Weeks has not been able to close that gap on Eric DeMax. 5 laps into this event, no real changes. Nathan Davidson's another driver that's had issues. He had to come down pit road after hitting the barrier. And they did a good job of fixing that race car, but car 91 is down in 37th position. Richard Johnson working on Charles Sanford. This is a position to get into 12th, actually to get in 11th. Oh, Johnson trying to get his nose in there, and Sanford slides into the tire barrier. That's another car that's into the barrier. And Sanford's going to lose some more positions. There goes Jeffrey White and Vance Freeze. Now Matt Rodriguez has nowhere to go. Rodriguez dives out from behind the 83. That Trans Am Pontiac, oh, it's got to be very careful to not hit the wall there. All the way down to Jake apart in 21st is very tight from 11th down to 21st. Richard Johnson now trying to set out of Samuel England. England is up in the 10th. Jesse Turner recently just passed Charlie Smith, and looks like James Shelley has been in trouble in car 71. He's nowhere to be seen in that 71 car. Something has happened with James Shelley. The 71 team of James Shelley decided to bring him in. Too much damage on the right side of that race car, and that's a shame. If you get too much damage, you start to get a tire rub, and you don't want to risk a flat tire. And when you caved in that deep on that right side, there's a risk of a right front or a right rear tire going down, and they just did not want to take a risk on that. Shelley's on pit road. Charlie Smith trying to go around the lap car. Cody Lamas. Lamas in the 48 has also came down pit road to repair damage, and Charlie Smith has hit the outside wall. So turn 3 continuing to be the trouble spot. Looking at Cody Lamas here, and Lamas in the 48 was racing Charlie Smith, but he's actually racing Zachary Fitzwater for 39th. Cody Lamas enters this race high in the championship standings. He actually gained a spot. There's Charles Sanford, who actually pitted early as well. Seems like if you hit the tire barrier, you're just prone to pit early because you get a tire rub, and you have to pit and not risk getting that tire damage. Well, Lamas passes Fitzwater for 39th. This is hurting his chances today. Him and Dylan Schwellenberg have had to pit early, along with James Shelley and a few others. But those are the notable drivers high in the championship standings that aren't having very good luck so far. 10 laps in the event. It seems like as long as you can stay out of the tire barrier in turn 3, you're in pretty good shape. All the way down to Nick Mace, everyone has been able to stay clear of any danger. Dylan Schwellenberg really closing in on the tail end of the pack. He's got a quick race car, repaired damage, and has fresh tires as well. Just up ahead of Mace, they're racing very aggressively. That's Bobby Jones with Jake Bassinger. Bassinger is up to 25th. He's kept his car clean, and it's kind of the championship drive you have to have. a very difficult track in Trois, Rivieres. Daniel Bouchard trying to slide by of John Arndt. Every position matters. You got to take your opportunities when you can, because you don't know when you're going to get them again. And you want to go single file in turn 3. Is that a car there, or was that the pace car? That's a pace car. Logan Cloud, a shame for him in car 56. Same with Ryan Griffin in car 3. Actually, Griffin is still running inside of the top 20. He is not pitted yet, but that is a very high risk of a right front tire or a left rear or right rear tire going flat. He's right there with Jeff James as well. Those are just a look at everyone that is still inside the top 20 racing competitively. DJ Curtis challenging with Peter Onjak. Onjak in the 66. Where is Onjak at? He was in 5th, but not anymore. Zachary Fitzwater, I believe, held him up. Alex Benyako's now into 5th. DJ Curtis is in 6th. Peter Onjak now down to 7th position. So 5th all the way down to 9th. Very tight race here inside the top 5. And it happened again. DJ Curtis trying to go around the lap car. Same thing that happened with Charlie Smith and Cody Lamas. And DJ Curtis just absolutely pancaked the outside wall. Cole Baker's going to take advantage of DJ Curtis, slowing up him and Peter Onjak. 4 cars going down that long back straightaway. Side by side, Marchese moving his way up to 6th position. It's a good run by Marchese. It's the first time since probably the Daytona 500 seeing Marchese run this well. Cole Baker, it's been a while for him too. And how about Peter Onjak though? Still, even though he's running in 9th position, losing positions ever so slowly, that Team Velocity Ford performing outstanding so far in the opening going. DJ Curtis, that's a lot of damage. You see, could risk a tire going down in that 19. Don't be surprised if Curtis ends up coming down pit road early. James Shelley and Dylan Schwellenberg have caught the tail end of the lead pack. Alexa Luchin in the 31 for Crossroads Racing. This is their 2nd Sony Cup Series start in their career. They made a race with James Ellison in the Talladega last year. At the tail end of the pack, but keeping that 31 car clean, not in the outside wall yet, hoping to make a clean race out of it for this brand new part-time team. Racing with a champion, the Hardee's National Series, and a 2-time Cup champion. I think Dylan Schwellenberg may have brushed the tire barrier again. Doesn't look as bad as what it was earlier. But this is the debut for Alexis Luchin, and she's side by side trying to make a pass for 31st on the 2-time champion, most race wins all time in Nick Mace. James Fox has had a revival of a career in this season. He's 10th in the point standings with 4 top 10s and 10 starts. He has hit the tire barrier, but he has been able to continue on, it looks like, in car 34. Yes, he is. He's in 25th position, and it's been good to see United Emirates Racing continuing to get better and better. They announced that Harpel and Silver Fox will be returning to car 14 and 34 for the 2023 season. And this organization continues to build and build, and don't be surprised if that organization ends up finding victory lane here soon. Silver Fox in the last few weeks, other than this week, has been top 5 speed and capable to win a race at any point we go racing, and it's been good to see out of Silver Fox. John Art in car 43, I think, just grazed the tire barrier. Doesn't look all that bad. Logan Cloud really holding up Ryan Acosta, who looked like was going to take an opportunity at the car 43, his old teammate. And Acosta has to wait a little longer. Jake Bassinger's march to the front continues, just behind Chris Dodd and Jacob Hart. Hart in car 61 is in 20th position in the top half of the field. Chris Dodd trying to knock that down and get in the 20th position with Jake Bassinger just in tow. He has made up a ton of positions so far, and he continues to march his way forward. Samuel England, I think, just absolutely grazed the tire barrier in turn 3. Got away with it, but he lost a position to Jeffrey White, and now Matthew Rodriguez gets by him. Here comes Vince Freeze, Joseph Shrigley there as well. Shrigley was very hopeful that this race could be very good for him. He's had a lot of speed this season so far, and he's good on the road courses. But it hasn't turned out exactly like he would have hoped for, especially in his home country in Canada. But he's down here in 15th position, a solid run nonetheless. And it's been tough to pass. And car 66 of Peter Onjak struggling to get by Zachary Fitzwater allows Richard Johnson and Jeffrey White to close in on the back of Onjak. Lee Smith in car 76 has came down pit road trying to make adjustments and fix the damage on car 76. And Charlie Smith in the 76 was running inside of the top 5. And that is a shame. It just goes to show you what'll happen if you get into the tire barrier. And this is another race where Charlie Smith is running inside the top 5 and has to give that up. Eric DeMax, the race leader, has caught the tail end of the pack. And this is a pretty long circuit, all things considered. I mean, it's a shorter track compared to, California. But Eric DeMax has caught the tail end. Bobo Jones just up ahead with Charlie Smith, who just repaired damage. Same with Zayden Davidson. Nick Mason, Alexis Luchin just up ahead. And Will Goss in car 51 slowing. Goss in the 51 may have an issue. He is very slow, may have a cut tire on the 51 car, trying to limp it back to pit road. Zayden Davidson may have a cut tire in car 91. You see him slow as well. Oh, the race leader's there. Wow. Goss and Davidson slowing the racetrack, trying to make it back to pit road. But we're closing in on 20 laps of the event, almost halfway. And Eric DeMax has led from start to finish. And pit stops will be coming up shortly. Been a perfect day so far for CM Racing in car 0. And he's hoping to continue that. We're hearing that Zayden Davidson he is down on power. And Will Goss has a flat tire. So that is what has happened. Goss in the 51 has a cut tire, and Davidson is down on power, and this could be out of the race for Davidson. Gonna have to check and see what's gonna happen with Davidson. He is at least down a cylinder, and see Cybertron Motorsports deciding if they want to send Davidson back out there. If they do, he's going to be very slow on the straightaways. The rookie, Alexis Luchin, we try and give as much coverage as we can to the rookies. On debut, Alexis Luchin did a great job to get 8th, the final car to get in on speed. She has hit the outside wall and, well, going to have to come down and get repairs when pit stops come around. And hopefully she can stay out there a little bit longer and before pit stops actually come in. Dejon Weeks, 3 seconds back, and is closing on Eric DeMax. Lap traffic just up ahead of Eric DeMax is slowing his progress through the field. And, well, Ryan Griffin has came down pit road a little early. He might be able to make it all the way. Actually, we're hearing that this is a soft tire compound for this race weekend. So it's very possible we may see 2 stops today, like we've done in the past. They brought a really soft tire, so almost thought it was a harder compound tire, but no, it is a soft compound tire for this race weekend. Could be seeing 2 stops, if not at least a 1 stop for this afternoon. As many of the leaders continue to come down pit road, Dejon Weeks will give up 2nd position and try and do the undercut on the CM Racing machine of Eric DeMax. CM Racing's last victory came with Dejon Weeks at Watkins Glen, so that team really knows how to get it done on the road courses, but Weeks is hoping to beat them at their own game. More cars inside the top 5 continue to come down pit road. Alex Vignaco's on pit road. Anthony Marchese, Cole Baker, now Peter Onjak. 2nd in the point standings, Richard Johnson is in. And Dejon Weeks is stuck behind Jeffrey White. I think Weeks would have really loved to have seen Jeffrey White come down pit road with the rest of the top 5, so he could have got an open gap, but he's stuck behind White for this lap. And the race leader is on pit road. Looks as though it's going to be a 2-stop today, unless they're pitting very early and expecting a long stint to the end of the checker flag. Eric DeMax is on pit road. Jesse Turner, car 17, will be coming in as well. There he is. Dejon Weeks cannot be happy. He's running off the race course. Jeffrey White, the dirty air is very effective on every track we go to, and man, he really got held up a lot by Jeffrey White. That's going to hurt him in trying to undercut Eric DeMax. Here comes Eric DeMax looking to leave pit road. And DeMax hit the barrier, and Dejon Weeks goes by, and that's a lot of damage to Eric DeMax. DeMax just leaving pit road, clipped the barrier, and oh my goodness, you cannot have that happen. The pole sitter, Eric DeMax, has a ton of left side damage, and that could be an early pit stop again. and might have to put Damax on a 3-stopper. DJ Curtis continuing to struggle out there, hits the barrier again, and this looks like it's going to do even more damage. And the hometown favorite, Jeff James, is on pit road. Looks like he's got some sort of mechanical issue. He's been sitting on pit road for quite some time. James Shelley finally entering pit road. He's been able to get that car fixed, though, is Jeff James, and crew might have had some sort of chassis problem. He was on pit road for quite some time. He's right there at dead last of all the cars running on the racetrack, and it's a shame. A lot of the teams, a lot of the Canadians in this field not having the best of luck as, you know, Kyle Collins did, 2 years prior when he took victory in this race, driving the 8016, but James is back out there and racing. Jake Bassinger in the 97, ever so slowly, every lap clicking off. He's kept his head down. The championship leader continuing to pick his way through the field. He's in the top 20 now, picked his way past 8 cars since the green flag, and has a few more just in sight. It has just not been Cody Lamas' day. Car 48 returning to the race. He has been in the outside wall multiple times, and he's down in 37th position. May have lost a position while he was on pit road, but for 1 spot gain in the point standings, possibly going to lose another spot, if not 2 or more. Just been a very tough day up here in Canada for car 48. As we come to take lap 30, car 30 is in the lead. And then, further back, Eric DeMax has that damage on the left side that could be affecting the aerodynamics of that zero car. It's very likely they're going to have to make a second pit stop. And when he does, if he makes any repairs on that car, DeMax is liable to lose even more positions. This zero team really nails the setup here at Trois Rivieres. Continues to run very well each year. With Stephen Pollard III last year, notably, taking pole in a top 5 finish. But Ben Yako on the podium right now. In 3rd position, Jesse Tunner. It's been a miserable year so far for the defending champion. Won 10 races last season, enters this race 14th in the point standings, and he only has 4 top 10s, but every other time he's outside the top 10, it's not been his luck. Ben Yako, Turner, and Marchese are on top of each other here, and still within a shot to try and win today's race. Now they're just 7 seconds back to Dejon Weeks, and just a little bit of traffic, and Weeks maybe slipping into the wall, and a victory could be in their hands for Ben Yako, Turner, and Marchese. And let's remember what happened with car 0 Eric DeMax. He got in the outside wall, not paying attention, leaving pit road, and now he has something to look out for and could possibly be a threat for a possible flat tire if he has to come down pit road unexpectedly. And outside the top 5 in the top 10, it's Cole Baker having a great run today, and DJ Curtis has a lot of damage in car 19 to the right side. He still holds on in 7th. Second in points, Richard Johnson continuing to be very solid, the 2-time champion. And Peter Onjak, what a day he's having in car 66. No matter what else will happen in this race, you got to give an attaboy to Peter Onjak. What a race he's having in the Sony Cup Series today. And Jeffrey White in 10th position, trying to hold off Matt Rodriguez. And then Shirley Smith, he pitted unexpectedly. He's on an alternate strategy, but he's in 12th. Very good run right now for him, with England, Freeze, and Cass making up the top 15, and Jake Bassinger continuing to make his way forward. He is up into 18th position. Charles Sanford re-entering the race. He had to come down pit road again. He got into the wall, and, well, that's another trip down pit road that Sanford has had to make, and he is a lap down. Peter Onjak is on pit road in car 66, and I may have just done the commentator's curse on Peter Onjak. Onjak has had to make an extra pit stop, unless this is his 2nd stop of the day, which I'm not entirely sure it is. It seems a little too early, but Onjak is on pit road, and I'm unsure if he had to come down pit road for a flat tire or something. Eric DeMax really getting held up by Zayden Davidson. Remember, Davidson is down on power. We mentioned that earlier, and on the straightaways, it's very apparent that 91 car is literally being pushed around this circuit. And he is in 2nd position, losing a lot of time to Dejon Weeks. Ben Yako's been able to cut his way through a lap traffic to get right on the back end of his teammate. And Well, the race leader of Dejon Weeks is pulling the margin, getting so far out ahead, and DeMax finally getting clear of the 91, but you do not want to go to the outside of the 91 in this corner. Turn 3, you want to go single file. If you're on the outside in turn 3, you're going to have to lift or get put in the tire barrier. And Benyako diving to the inside had to lift. But Davidson, you're going to watch here on the straightaway. Watch how slow Zayden Davidson is on the straights. Just no power on that Cybertron Motorsports Mercedes. Down on power in the 91. It's a shame for Davidson. He's had a great season so far. But today it's all about damage control in the points. I want to give a call to Allison Rain. Allison Rain, possibly one of her best races so far, in 27th position. The last car on the lead lap. Well, actually, no, not on the lead lap. She is a lap down. Dejon Weeks just up ahead. She is just up ahead of Eric DeMax. And Zachary Fitzwater is already 2 laps down in car 22, just up ahead of her. But Rain doing a good job keeping that car as clean as possible. And next challenger up ahead of Rain is James Sorfox. So very good competition to be racing with. This 63 team of Flipside Motorsports, we're going to be talking about them as well in the part-time car owner points to try and earn the final charter for the 2023 season. The 63 team, anytime a part-time entry can run in the top 20 or possibly the top 25, you know, that's really good for them. Jeff James on pit road again, just having a lot of bad luck in the Joseph Strigley racing car. But we've seen it with Anjato, and we've seen it with JSR, that they're able to get their cars in the top 20 here and there. And this point race to be the top part-time car and owner points is going to be something to watch for the remainder of the season. Bobby Jones giving it a good show right now in 22nd position for that new team. Racing hard together, Anthony Marchese and Jesse Tunner. Marchese bounced off the outside wall and now has a ton of damage to the right side of the Mountain Dew Camry. I can't tell if everyone's pitting so far, if this is a real strategy or not, but a lot of damaged cars are on pit road. Dylan Schwellenberg, he's a lap down. DJ Curtis was in the top 10. Anthony Marchese was in the top 5 before he hit the outside wall. Here's Charlie Smith. A lot of cars on pit road, leading me to believe we are pitting for green flag pit stops for the second time this afternoon. More cars continuing to pit. Jake Bassinger has kept his nose clean all afternoon. In the top 15 now, gonna have to see where he ends up in these final 13 laps. With 10 laps to go, Eric DeMax hands over second position to his teammate. And DeMax, will he repair damage? He was the closest contender to Dejon Weeks, and he had damage on the left side. And that's going to be something to wait and see. Cole Baker is also on pit road. He was in 4th position before he made his pit stop. Problem! A problem for Dejon Weeks! Weeks is out of the race! Owen Shelley behind him! Shelley plowed in the outside wall, but Dejon Weeks is out of the race! An engine failure for one of the dominant cars, and it comes with an accident entering pit road. You literally cannot make this stuff up. Weeks is trying to get to pit road. Art is there, and Weeks just goes into the pit wall. Paul III, Jeff James, Bassinger hit the brakes, but Shelley hits the wall, similar to what Weeks did, but just absolutely nailed the wall in the tire barrier that jets out. The dominant car of the day, Dejon Weeks. Not entirely sure if I'd call him the dominant one. Eric DeMax led the opening portion. Oh man, and there's the wall there for Shelley and Weeks. An early exit and out of the race for car 71 and Dejon Weeks. This opens the door for Alex Benyako to be in the fight for his first win in the Sony Cup Series, but Eric DeMax blasts by. They did not repair the damage on car 0. They wanted DeMax to be in the fight for this win with less than 20 to go, or less than 10 to go, sorry. Richard Johnson is scored as the race leader, but he should be pitting anytime soon. But Richard Johnson's teammate, Dejon Weeks, can't believe it. Out of the race, had this race in the bag. And wow, you cannot have that happen if you want to fight for the title. There's Richard Johnson coming down pit road. Wow, I cannot believe that happened. Eric DeMax, with 8 laps to go, has yet to score a top 10 result in any of the races so far done this season. 10 races down, 0 top 10s. And, well, he's en route to get the best top 10 that he could ever ask for in this season so far. Victory lane and Trois Rivieres. 1-2 right now for CM Racing. Third position would go to not Dylan Schwellenberg. Who would even be in third? A big dash right there. Jeffrey White is in the third position. Yes, he is. Chevrolet with CM Racing and Curtis Racing. Wow, SkyTech's Alliance right there. Turning things around with Chevy on the podium right now. And Cole Baker right now in fourth. Fifth is Anthony Marchese. Sixth is Matthew Rivieres. Seventh is Vince Freeze. Eighth, DJ Curtis. Ninth, Richard Johnson. And 10th is Charlie Smith. And 11th is Jesse Turner. Oh my goodness, this race has been turned upside down. Or side by side for 10th. Smith to the outside. Oh, almost to the outside wall. That was so close. Charlie Smith, very brave to go to the outside of Jesse Turner like that. And if you're going to do a move like that on anybody, Jesse Turner is probably the best one to trust that wouldn't put you in the tire barrier. Turner holds on to a top 10 run right now with less than 6 laps to go. 6 to go here at the line. Benyako versus Eric DeMax. Cody Lamas just up ahead of DeMax. Oh, DeMax! Very slight contact of the barrier allows Alex Benyako to get alongside. Alex Benyako announced that he will not be returning to the Sony Cup Series for 2023. And what a way it would be to get his first Sony Cup Series win a couple weeks after that announcement, going to victory lane for the first time ever. Eric DeMax, I think, was struggling with dirty air behind Cody Lamas, and that enabled the very loose maneuver in turn 3. DeMax just couldn't keep his car underneath of him. As we come to 5 laps to go, Alex Benyako looking for that first Sony Cup Series checkered flag. He leads over his experienced teammate of Eric DeMax. It's a scramble on back. Matthew Rodriguez holds 6 over Vince Freeze, having an amazing run in that Martin Motorsports car with Curtis Johnson and Turner the top 10. That is the scramble. Marchese around Zachary Fitzwater, but for the lead, it is still a huge scrap with Cody Lamas still in the way of the leaders. Benyako and DeMax. What a fight we have on our hands. CM Racing hasn't been anywhere close to a race-winning contender. Oh, and DeMax to the inside. Near contact between the two cars. DeMax gives him enough respect to back off. And DeMax still challenging Benyako. Benyako holds the lead as we come to 4 to go. Benyako to the inside of Cody Lamas. It's a daring move by Benyako. And Benyako makes the pass. DeMax also makes his way through. And here comes Eric DeMax. He has a run on this back straightaway. DeMax has taken a peek, but he tucks in behind the 8 car. Eric DeMax is going to give Alex Benyako a run for his money. It's been a long time for Eric DeMax. You have to go all the way back to when he was driving for Rodriguez Racing for Eric DeMax's last win in the Sony Cup Series. He didn't win last year in the Mace Enterprises 4 car. He made the move to CM Racing to be a race-winning contender, fight for the championships. And, well, it's been a really rough start. Chevrolet has had a tough 2-year tender of 2021 and 2022. But right here, right now, at Trois Rivieres, they are completing the podium positions with Benyako, DeMax, and Jeffrey White right now. All drivers that have came up from the Hardee's National Series. Look at this top 5. You think about drivers in the last couple of years that have came up through the Napa Truck Series, the Hardee's National Series. That is your top 5 right now. Benyako, DeMax, White, Baker, and Marchese. The future of the sport is now, and you don't have to look even further back to find guys like Vince Freeze as well. The veterans of Matthew Rodriguez, DJ Curtis, Richard Johnson, and Jesse Turner complete the top 10. But this race is going to end, it looks like, with a young guy winning at the front of the pack. And it's going to be one of the CM Racing Chevrolets, it looks like, as we come to 2 laps to go with Alex Bignacco out front. Looking outside of the top 10, the point leader, Jake Bassinger. He's going to lose points to Richard Johnson at this rate. And a couple of others like DJ Curtis just up ahead. That championship margin is going to decrease after this one. Peter Onjak just up ahead. But Bassinger trying to hang on. He's got Sanford and Griffin just behind him. And a very slow 91 just up ahead. He's going to lose some positions possibly. Bassinger trying to do damage control in the point standings. But wow, I still cannot believe what happened with Dejon Weeks. Weeks was way out ahead of Alex Bignacco and Eric DeMax. And he looks set to take victory at Trois Rivieres. But that's all it takes. This track is so narrow at times. The white flag is out for Alex Bignacco one more time around. This track is so narrow at times. You can just be in the barrier or in the wall and you're out of the race. And that's all it took. A misjudgment by Dejon Weeks in car 30. Put him going head on into the pit wall and blowing an engine, a radiator. And same thing with Eric DeMax. One miscue and you have damage. Eric DeMax, what would this race be like if he didn't have damage? He's got a lot of damage on that left side that's hindering him just a little bit. If he didn't have that, he would have a lot more aerodynamics that's helping his race car be planted to the ground. Maybe he doesn't bobble and give that lead up to Alex Bignacco. That's why you have to be on your toes and be near perfect. And Bignacco is damn near perfect today in Canada, rounding the final corners at Trois Rivieres. Announced that he will be stepping away from the Sony Cup Series at season's end. What a way for Alex Bignacco to get his first win at Trois Rivieres. The 2019 Hardee's National Series champion is a Sony Cup Series winner by less than a second over his teammate Eric DeMax. In a fierce battle to get onto the podium, looks like it's going to go to Jeffrey White, holding off Cole Baker, and Baker is not going to be a Gorga Homer after this race. He did such a good job today. That's going to jump him into the top 30 in owner points. And 5th place, Anthony Marchese, he needed that. And top 6 drivers are all drivers that came up through the Hardee's National Series in the last 5 seasons. Oh man, it's good to see this kind of talent showing their muscle, even if it comes at the cost of one of our more experienced drivers who also came up through the Hardee's National Series, may I add. Dejon Weeks blowing the lead, a 7-second lead at that, coming to take his final pit stop. Matt Rodriguez in car 9 for the veterans ends up finishing 7th. DJ Curtis in 8th. Is going to gain those points on Jake Bassinger today in his bid to stay alive in the championship fight. Richard Johnson, 2nd in points, closes the championship lead down to Jake Bassinger. And you have to start really considering Richard Johnson as a serious title contender for 2022. What a drive by Richard Johnson in this season, and Jesse Turner in the top 10. Wow, what a race today. Congratulations to Eric DeMax, or to Alex Bignacco and Eric DeMax on the 1-2 finish for CM Racing. They really needed that. And that's going to help them out a lot in their progression to get better and better. They've been just missing something over there at Chevrolet, but at Chevrolet, 1-2-3 today with Bignacco, DeMax, and White. Let's get you to our finishing results and standings after Trois Rivieres. And for one last time, congrats, Alex Bignacco.